Hello. Hello. Nice to see you. To see you nice. I can see that I'm at the wrong... Hello. Sorry. I'm at the wrong side. There we go. Hello. There you go, I'm at the right size now. You don't even know what I'm talking about. That doesn't matter. Good evening. I hope you're all having a beautiful Sunday evening. In Northern Europe, it's really beautiful weather. I'm sure it's like that over most of Europe at the moment. What to say? I always like come on here and then just go quiet. If this is your first time to live stream, I'll tell you how it works. So normally I do silent sitting for 20 minutes. Then I do an introduction, and then at about 7 o'clock French time, then you can ask questions. You can ask me questions from Skype. You can you can either call in or you can write a question in Skype, either one. If you want to call in, please write me a message rather than call in, because normally our times are at different times. I'm like 30 seconds ahead of you, so when you think I'm pausing, I'm not actually pausing. What else? The subject today is your essence is not knowing. Yes, I can't think of anything else. Yeah. So maybe we just go into meditation first. So with meditation, there's nothing you have to do, but sit there with your eyes closed, preferably, and do nothing. You can just let your mind like run wild, like jump all over the place. There's no requirement. If you feel like you want to do something because it's too uncomfortable for you, then you can do something like moving your attention into the I am or counting your breath. So the counting of the breath is every time you breathe in, you count 1, and then 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 10, and then you just keep repeating that. So when you get to 10, you come back to 1 again. And the other one is moving your attention into I am or presence. But you can also not do anything, just sit there and see what happens. Like, how crazy can the mind go? Or how quiet can it go when it's just not controlled, when it's just left to do what it likes? What does it think about? It's like an animal in itself. We think that's us, that that's who we are, and we're so like hypnotized by it, thinking it's so superior and so brilliant and wonderful. Or maybe you're angry with it, but that it has so much power. But really, it's just like an animal, like beep, 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 chattering away. So we just go into meditation now. So hello, good evening. What is the title tonight? The title is Your Essence is Not Knowing. So, most people in society believe that they are someone interacting with society. That they're a separate entity interacting with society, and there's somebody that's inside this body looking out. So maybe you believe that. Maybe you're sitting in your chair and you believe that you're sitting listening to me. Whereas in actuality, there is nobody listening to me. There is only listening happening. There is only experiencing happening. It isn't being experienced by someone. So maybe you think that you've got a life, that you have problems, that you don't have problems, that you're going somewhere, that you are something. And none of that is who you are. Some people might call that the ego, but I don't really go into that word because my teacher used to use ego in a positive way. But they believe that these thoughts, these feelings, these ideas are someone. And that's who you are. And then when they're waking up, they begin to believe that they can see the ego, they can see their own dynamics, but that too would be the mind, or part of the person seeing something. So all thoughts and feelings and experiences don't come together and form a person that's alive, experiencing. So just because you're thinking, oh, I am sitting here, Lisa, what are you talking about? And I do have a past, and you're imagining your past, just because that's appearing inside your imagination, that doesn't actually mean that there is an entity that's alive there. It feels like that person is experiencing unconscious, but it's not. It's not actually alive. It's a play happening, just like a film being projected onto the movie screen. You can see that none of the characters are actually alive and independent. Their colours and sounds appearing, giving the appearance of watching someone. They're not actually alive in that moment. They're dead matter. And what I mean by dead is like not conscious. There isn't consciousness. So you're not actually conscious. That person isn't actually conscious. So the past isn't conscious. So if you imagine yourself as someone that's come from the past and now sitting on a seat watching me, so that you've been off in the world and you've just done all these things this afternoon, and now you're sitting on a seat watching me, and then you believe that that person is alive, that's not conscious. How can something that's not here be conscious? How can an imagination? It's an imagination with feelings that are passing through consciousness. And how can projections of you in the future be conscious? So something you do or don't do, you like or don't like, how can that actually be conscious and be alive? So who is alive? Like in this moment, who is alive? What's looking out of your eyes? If it's not a person, if it's not your thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future, what you should or shouldn't do, what you like or don't like, your body, if it's not that, then who's looking out of these eyes now? Or what is looking out of these eyes now? And the answer is absolute mystery. When you really get down to the details of it, you can't even call it consciousness. The consciousness doesn't even exist. You can't even recognize as that. It's just experiencing itself. This empty looking. And this mystery, this not knowing, is freedom. It's who you truly are. It's what you are. It never knows anything now. Your mind knows things. Your body knows things. The world seems to know things. But this not knowing is absolutely innocent, and it's been covered by this attachment to the body-mind and the belief that the body-mind is you. And it's like an energetic contraction, and it kind of sucks in this not knowing, because this not knowing doesn't even know that it's looking at something. It simply is everything. It has no boundaries because it's not knowing. So it's looking. So this, you could call it consciousness if you want, but it's even beyond consciousness, really. But this consciousness doesn't know that it's a subject looking at an object. It just is everything. It doesn't know what it is, so it by default is everything and nothing. And that's happening in all body-mind mechanisms, that this not knowing is looking out. And this is your freedom. It's so free and vast. It's all that's ever wanted. It's so beautiful. But what happens in most is that there is this attachment to time, this attachment to the body, to feelings, to emotions, and then this seeking energy to try to find that not knowing, in the future, in something. If I just do this, if I just do that, it will never happen. You'll never arrive at peace in time, no matter what is happening in your life. And this isn't about peaceful mind. This isn't about you arriving at something, although that can be a side effect of this. It's a sinking back into the immediacy of everything. This absolute mystery, this, I love it, this innocence that's just here, just now. And that has effects on characters. The character's going to have its tendencies, it's going to experience pleasure or pain, but it's not any longer this attachment to the character and this belief that happiness is found in the character, that happiness is found in what I do or don't do. And it's kind of simultaneously this sinking back in, this trust of the mystery of it all happening, like that you're not in control of this life, that you're not driving the dream bus. Like a few weeks ago, I was this body mind, aka Lisa. It's a little shy because there's quite a few people below my window, and they can hear me talking to myself. It's okay, but it looks a little Looney Tune. But a few weeks ago, I was in a car accident. It was really not a bad car accident, but it could have been bad, but it also could have not happened as well. It could have been all these different things that you imagine, and you could imagine like how bad it could have been, like it could have been a disaster, and then you could imagine like that, like nothing could have happened. I don't know if you've ever been in a car accident, but often after the car accident, to help the bodies to adjust to what's just happened, you talk about what could have happened or how lucky or how unlucky you were. And in the end, like, it's nothing to do with luck or not luck. It's just our way of speaking. In the end, it's what this mystery, this source of everything, which is who you are. So it's not happening to you. You're not some small figure in which this mystery is doing life to. You are that mystery. It's what that mystery creates. So it's what you are creating, but not you as something personal. Like, you're spontaneously creating. Like if you're playing a piece of music and making it up as you go, it's like spontaneous. So it's not something you can sit and dictate and be like, I want 10 Jaguars, 16 houses. It's spontaneous. It's happening instantaneously. And it's what you, as that mystery, are creating. And it will happen the way it happens. And 100 other drivers could drive exactly the same way, and there'd be 100 other outcomes. Like, it isn't a particular there isn't a recipe for this life. It's so mysterious. We think there is. We think because we're good at getting resources, collecting resources, and manipulating nature, that we can control this, but it's actually way more mysterious. Like something like a car accident, there's so many, all the times, there's so many things that could happen. You know, there can be one driver that's had like 20 car accidents, and there's one driver that's never had any accidents, and that one driver could not be a very good driver, and the other one could be a really good driver. Like, it's really mysterious how it happens. And all of it's in accordance with what's meant to happen, in perfect balance. There's nothing that happens out of balance. And the more there is the relaxation into that, or the collapse into that, then the letting go of the identification happens. But again, it's not somebody's letting go. There isn't a person that lets go of that, because who would let go of that? It's just something that seemingly happens. The person is all about control and seeking and trying to obtain happiness and freedom in the future and avoid unhappiness and pain. And it's not in that. Freedom isn't in that. Freedom is right here. It's this mystery that the mind, the person, doesn't want to see. Because it's scary. Who you are is absolute not knowing. Who you are doesn't know a thing intellectually. It doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't reject badness and move towards goodness. It doesn't care if you live or die. It doesn't care if the whole of society collapses. It's just experiencing, but impartially, without an objective or without a goal. And it's not a thing. So there's nothing you can know, there's nothing you can grab onto. It's suspended in the middle of nowhere. You see, the person is always making up stories about where it came from and where it goes to, and that gives the person some form of security. But your essence has no clue. Your essence hasn't come from somewhere or not come from somewhere. It is just here experiencing. It's not got something or not got something. It's not a position. It's not looking from a position. It's not all positions. Oh, sorry. And it is all positions. It's the opposite. I need to get my bad battery. I forgot to plug in. 1 second. Hello. Yes, I do. I got a little boopy who wants her din dins. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She wants her din dins. Yes, she does. Because Lisa makes good din dins, doesn't she? Yes, she does. Oh yeah, you're so beautiful. Yeah. Sorry, I took the opportunity to go to the bathroom as well. Okay, so let's go for some questions. Let's see what questions we have. Hi, Alexi. Hi, Fabrizio. Hi, Lisa. Will you be streaming live today at Fritz's? Yes. Hi, Jan. Hello, Lisa. I absolutely love your teaching. You are a spiritual badass. Badass, I like that. I have a question for today's live stream. It's about 3 years since non-duality stole my heart and everything in my human life was sort of seen as unimportant. Do you have any suggestions how to navigate a decision? I'm currently careerless, completely dependent on my boyfriend money-wise. Thank you so much. Melanie. Hey, Melanie. Oh, that's really beautiful that non-duality stole your heart. It's the most amazing subject. In the end, nothing really matters. So whatever career you pick, it doesn't really matter. I remember saying that once about identity, and it created such a outrage. People were really outraged that I said it doesn't really matter. In one way, it matters, and we can go into that to setting the wants, but in one way it doesn't really matter. What really matters is presence. What you are, which is right now. That's what really matters. And I suspect that if you have a career, I was going to say it could be nice to have one where there's like-minded people, but that's simply a pleasure. And when you really see that pleasure and pain aren't dependent on what you're doing, then it doesn't really matter. In the end, a wise thing to do would be to follow your flow. So go in the direction in which your body is naturally orientated. So if you're good with your hands and you enjoy doing woodwork, then that would be a suggestion. And your body's gonna have tendencies as what it's better at. So I would say that my body has a tendency towards teaching and towards storytelling. I write stories as well, and that's my tendency. And that I've managed to, it's not really me, it happened really. I say me, but I never planned this, I can assure you, but I've managed to carve a way out in which I can do both of these things, like teaching and storytelling. And that's immensely satisfying and beautiful, but it also can at times be painful. And that's the nature of life. Like, even if you find the most heavenly job or career path, it will have painful sides, because it's the nature of the way things move, that they can be painful and pleasurable. And sometimes, like, hearing people's suffering can be painful. So when I'm teaching, hearing people's suffering, there can be other elements to it. People can get very angry with me as a teacher. And then also sometimes when I'm writing, like, you have to really push through some of the creative blocks. You can easily procrastinate when you're a writer, and you have to like keep like presenting the page to yourself. So you have to keep presenting it. Like a old friend of mine used to say, is when you have constipation, you just keep presenting yourself to the toilet. And it's the same with writing. When you have writing constipation, you keep presenting yourself to page and just kind of sit there until it begins to come. There's other things you can do as well to get it going. So these things can be painful, and it's the same like whatever you imagine. Like, if you imagine yourself to be like a canoe instructor, there's going to be pleasure and pain with that. It might be painful if you're doing that in the wintertime, or it might be painful because you can't get much work in the wintertime. It's just the nature of life. But when you know really deeply that your happiness is always in this moment, that your happiness is always that which is experiencing, which is absolute mystery, then the forms in life can't take away from you. It's simply forms, and you're not trying to get somewhere. You're not trying to be something. Like, what you are is enough. I hope that helps. I mean, like, also you can book these sessions with people. You can book session with me, but you can also book sessions with people that do like law of attraction or something, and they help you focus in on what it is you want and then like manifest that. Like, I do believe that you can manifest. It's just not you that's doing it. Like, that manifestation process either happens or not. But if you like focus on what you want and keep focusing on it, then I believe that it will begin to appear. But again, that's not you that's doing it. It's something that happens. And they might not talk about non-duality, these coaches, but at least they will help you find what it is that you want to do. If that's appropriate. So when you are in that situation, just another good thing about doing session with someone and speaking out with someone is not letting your procrastination be a manifestation of your fear of creating. Like, so on the human level, like, sometimes not creating a job or not doing these things can also be a fear of society, a fear of humanity, a fear of producing, a fear of being your best self. So working with someone one-to-one can help reflect that back to you, so you can see what's lurking there. Hello, Andre. Hi, Nick. Hi, Rick. Hi, Lisa. I have a question on free will. I'm starting to realize there is no such thing, and that we all have a relatively predetermined life pattern, that if we can realize or wake up to what we actually are, then this pattern plays out to its highest and best outcome. Is this correct? And if so, how far does it go? If every single decision I seemingly make already predetermined, in some ways I can see that accepting a lack of free will allows for total freedom, as there is nothing for mind to worry about. But will acceptance of it also not lead to some sort of nihilism and a sense of what's the point in everything if it's all already decided? Great channel, by the way. I find your honesty and straightforward delivery refreshing. Nice, Rick. Thanks. Yes, there's lots of questions in there. I think that nothing ever is succinct intellectually. So you can think about all these things and you can relax and what will be the best life, and if this lines up and this lines up and that lines up, then I'll get to this. And in the end, that's all thoughts and imagination that's appearing now. And in this moment prior to all of that, even though it's not really prior, it's all around, it is everywhere, but we say prior as in what is inherently there, then that's free. So whether your questions are answered or not, there is something that's already free in you. And that's here, right now. But I like the way in which you say it, particularly at the beginning. Like, we can just relax into that and let that happen. Let life happen. We don't have to keep fighting life, like trusting it. Like really trusting life. And it goes against everything that we've ever been taught about controlling our lives and holding on to our lives. But really trusting it. It's not even you that's doing it in a way, it's like as you step out of the way, then trust is emerging. some ways I can see that accepting a lack of free will will allow for total freedom. There's nothing to worry to worry about, but will acceptance of it not also lead to a story of nihilism? No. Nihilism is another story, and that's not really what we're talking about. We're not really talking about somebody accepting there is no free will. It's a deep seeing that who you are is this mystery, and that this character is appearing out of mystery. And that you, the one that's on the surface, the character, the one that most people believe themselves are, is an outcome of this mystery. It's not actually an inherent doer. So it would only lead to nihilism if the person believes in that. Which in a way the person will believe in it, but it's like in one way, but as long as that's seen with the deeper seeing that that's not who you are, then it won't form into nihilism. Like, what would there be nihilistic about? Like, nihilistic is that life is pointless. You see, that's totally misunderstanding the teachings, because how can life be pointless? Because that's all made up by the mind. That's all made up in time, that life has meaning, that life has point or no point. It's the belief in the mental reality. When you see that you are much more, that you're this not knowing that's beyond it, there is a freedom that takes place. That this not knowing not a not knowing of the person, but beyond that. And it's totally in content and in love with itself. And it's experiencing because of the love of it, not because it wants to get somewhere, but because it loves itself. Like when you really go into that mystery, you see that the appearance of the trees is love, the appearance of the window is love, the sound of my voice is love, the space between objects is love. Like when you see there's no division between who you are and the object, you see that love is manifesting. That you aren't one thing, that who you are is no thing and all things. There is this consciousness of that. And this isn't something mental. This is something that's happening right here. You don't grasp this with the mind. The mind appears in time. So nihilism can only come when you believe in the mind and you believe that meaning actually means something. Whereas meaning is something that humans have made up and believe in as a society in order to manipulate the resources and survive. It's not inherent to life. The word meaning appears as a human thought. And there's something before that. It's before the idea of meaning. And this is where your freedom lies. And this is what people are always jumping out of into time. They jump out and then they're like, oh, I exist. And then they go into time and they're like, what's meaning? I have to have meaning. My life has to have purpose. It has to go somewhere. It has to mean something. I can't just die and mean nothing. And this totally missing the point. Who were you in the first place? You've always been life itself, not this character. And when the character's separate and identified, of course it feels meaningless. Of course it feels arbitrary. It feels like it's this big world, and this big world is one day going to eat it, so it has to make its mark in this big world. It has to do something. It has to have importance. It has to be recognized. Thank you for your question, Rick. Hi, Josie. Hi, Lisa. Just make sure that this is all still working. My audio is live. Yes, the audio is live and kicking. Get my selection of drinks, and you should take some pink juice. You have to keep the throat nicely oiled when you're giving a talk. Hi, Lisa. I take a week feeling like a boiler or heater. A lot of heat in my upper body, mainly so much pressure in my head and chest. It's very uncomfortable. I am in bed because of it. It is very difficult to me doing normal things in daily life because of it. I can't concentrate in anything because of this intensity. Sometimes I feel very strong, the beating of my heart. I know this is the energy in the body, but what to do, or what is your experience about it? I wouldn't like to get to the hospital. Thank you so much. Hi, Josie. First of all, I don't know what the meaning of it is. It could be that there is something physically wrong with you and you need to go and get checked out by the doctor. So I wouldn't take anything that I say as a prescription of health. If it is spiritual, I'm going to talk about that, but that's if it is. It might actually be a physical condition. I mean, in the end, you could say everything's spiritual if you really boil it down, but in the world of things, it could be that you're having some health issues. So I would advise you to check that out and to eliminate it, because if I don't do that, you could blame me for not doing that. If you did have health problems. The spiritual teacher, she advised me not to go to a doctor. Now I've had this and the medical cost got this. That's a very negative perspective on people. My apologies, it just popped out. So what it could also be is chakra issues. So it could be a lot of energy arising, Kundalini energy arising from your chakras. Does it come with emotions? So that's something that you could explore, like this heat in your body. Can you find emotions in it? Is there a story, or is there stress in there? Or a story that's hiding? By putting your attention in your upper body and seeing if there is like a story where you feel stressed, or you feel victimized, or you feel unloved, or you feel hurt. Like, you can ask yourself questions. And the way I feel like it's good to do this is by shutting your eyes and putting your attention, say, in these chakras. So putting your attention in your heart. And you can even massage it and just giving it space. So if it's in the heart, then there's pain there, then it's most probably something around love. Do you feel like you're going to be abandoned? If it comes from your throat, then it could be something like you're not being heard, nobody hears you or listens to you, or that you can't say what you want. If it comes from the solar plexus, then it could be about control. If it's about the forehead, it could be overthinking. If it's about the crown, it could be like non-connected, not connected to something bigger than what we are. So you can just ask these questions and just explore, like, if there's emotions there and what the stories are. And sometimes when you begin to realize what the stories are, you begin to connect it to what's happening in your outside life. So sometimes you need to stop something that's happening in your outside life. You know, like job is creating some form of stress, or your partner, or you're feeling too much pressure to do something. A lot of the time people's illnesses manifest because of their stories, and they could also manifest into illnesses, but sometimes you're not even ill. Like sometimes people are having panic attacks and it's about stress or heartbreak, and they feel like their heart is having like issues, they're having a heart attack, whereas actually it's an emotion that's in there, and that pain of that emotion, and they think that's my heart, and they don't connect that there is an emotion going on there. This particularly happens in people that are very disconnected from their body. So there's all types of things that you can do as a solution to that, but knowing at the same time that that's not a prescription, that's a description of what can happen. So I can speak about these things, and then there might be an interest that arises in Jose, and then he goes off and investigates that. But the idea that I am saying to you that you should do it is illusory. There is just a happening. It's like if I were teaching how to bake a cake, I could say to you, first of all, you have to turn on the oven, and then you would turn around and turn on the oven. And then you think that you're doing it, that you have free will, but actually it's two instruments interacting together. Just like when your phone is speaking to the car, they call it that, you know, interacting and affecting the car. If that makes sense. You'll see. Thank you for your question. I went to wave goodbye. Goodbye, Josie. Goodbye. Goodbye. Hi, Dennis. Hi, Lisa. Oh no, just Lisa. Listening to your automobile accident story. Can you comment about karma and how it does or doesn't relate to this story? Much love, Dennis. So I don't see karma as like a personal thing. I see karma as impersonal. So for example, like somebody might have in their childhood had very controlling parents, and so this might then make the child reject anything that's controlling and become very like opposite to controlling, like rebellious and living outside the boundaries of everything, so colouring outside of the box. And that to me I see as karma, and it's not personal, and that doesn't necessarily need to change. It can be a freedom that's realised, and that still stays the same. They'll all relax, these dynamics. Like it doesn't mean that that person suddenly has to become someone that colours inside the lines. You know, that might be something they do for the rest of their life, a tendency. But that's what I see as karma. And that colouring outside of the boxes, that will have an effect on that person's life. That will colour that person's life. I don't see karma as like you did something bad and so bad things happen back to you. I do see karma though as if you drink lots of alcohol, the next day you're more than likely going to have a hangover. If you do really nasty things to people continuously throughout your life, then one day it's more than likely going to catch up to you. If you are what is that thing called? A liar, a liar, a compulsive liar, then that's going to catch up to you more than likely. So that's also going to affect the way in which your body orientates and the way bodies orientate around you. But it's nothing personal. So the compulsive liar can't help it. It doesn't mean that you don't get angry with compulsive liars. I've once known someone that was a compulsive liar, and it was really irritating being around them, because it was like a constant form of gaslighting, like a manipulation. Not always irritating, but it brought up fire in me and anger in me, and confusion. So that response is then going to have effect to their karma. So it's the same. So the same with the whole of that day. It's like my particular karma led me to that moment in time. My partner's particular karma led them to that moment in time. And for that to happen. And then that shapes that day, that experience. That's karma. It's like one thing affecting another and another. You could say it was a big karma for me, actually, because it was my 40th birthday. I was 40 years old that it happened on my 40th birthday, on the way to see wolves. And it's absolutely perfect, and you don't know what that did or didn't do, like how lucky or unlucky that was, if it was a good or bad thing. Like a lot of people, when they haven't really explored the nature of their mind or the nature of experience, could say that's a bad thing. But how do we know that's a bad thing? Because it costs money, maybe. It wasn't me that crashed. I was in it wasn't my car. I was in the passenger seat. It could cause illness and all these different things, but we don't know. That's only our limited experience that's saying that's bad. We don't have the bird's eye perspective. We don't know what else could have happened, or there couldn't have been anything else that happened. We just don't know if it's good or bad. It's not good nor bad. It's just as it is. It's something that plays out. And we don't know the effect or what it does or doesn't do. So that's the way in which I see karma. So I don't see a karma as like what traditionally people saw it as if you do something bad, then something bad happens to you as such. But I do get the sense that, if you keep being a shit to people, then people are going to be a shit back to you. Eventually you'll be caught out. And with law of attraction, do I feel like I attracted that? Like if I'd put safety around myself, would that have not happened? I don't see law of attraction quite like that. I see it slightly differently. It's more like a flow of things. And maybe if I had instated my intentions in a different way, then it would have happened differently, but I couldn't have done that because I didn't do that. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Dennis from Kentucky. Hi, Michaela. Hello, Lisa. If you say our true nature is love itself, how can we know if there is love for my partner, my husband? How do I know if he is the right one for me? I think that it's like that is a bit like a is it rabbit hole? Like going down a rabbit hole. How do I know if someone is right for me or wrong for me? Because this can bring up lots of doership thoughts and indecision as well. There's obviously the chemical attraction that's got to be there. Well, it doesn't have to be there, but that physical attraction, that some bodies are more drawn to each other than not. And then after that dissipates in the beginning, then it's like this companionship, this ability to work together, fit together. And from my experiences, like when like truly loving my partner isn't knowing who they are. Truly loving my partner is being in mystery and not seeing them as a thing that goes through time, but seeing them as what they truly are, which is present. Our bodies have a commitment to each other through time, which is really beautiful, like when you really trust someone, and when there is like these kind of shared interests, you can go through life together, and there can be this really beautiful commitment that the bodies form. It's also like I have with Khaleesi, it's like our bodies bond together. And that's always changing, and that's never a fixed thing. So you can't really call that love. Like, I could say it like I love my partner and I love his qualities, but this is always changing, because when they're being annoying in that moment, there is annoyance towards them. But then if I look in the whole, I can say I love them. But all of these things are something that come and go, and we can say them, but in a way they don't really properly depict our experience. And they're not a solid thing, like they don't contain love in itself. So when I say I love my partner in time, and I think about all the beautiful things that we've done together, you're kind of relating to an imagination of someone, an imagination of things, which is nice. And if you had really horrible experiences, then more than likely your bodies would move apart. So there is a nice quality to that, but that's not a fixed thing. That's something that you forget about then, when you're making dinner. But there is this other love that you can have. And prior to this awakening, I didn't know what love in relationship was. And I didn't know that I didn't know that. To me, like really loving someone is really seeing them beyond their conditions and not loving them on a condition base. Like that, yes, there's practicalities to that, but really loving someone, is seeing them beyond how much money they earn, how good they are at things, how bad they are at things, what they've done for you or not done for you. Like really, really loving someone is seeing them as everything and not separate from you. And then this is where something really magical can happen between those two bodies. They can continuously showing up new. It's like, in a way, it's like continuous forgiveness. That it's nobody's forgiveness. And what I mean by that is it's like everything that has been painful and pleasurable about your experience together in the past is gone, and you're seeing them totally afresh. It's like clean slate. Like, imagine looking at people like that. It's so beautiful. And yes, there's a judgment that happens on the bodily level, and that has relevance. Like if your body keeps experiencing pain with that person, that has relevance. But this is something that's changing. Like love is permanent. True love is permanent. And it's non-conditioned. It's without any conditions. That's so nice. Thank you for the question. I like talking about that. Hi, Wesley. Doop, doop, doop. Hi, Lisa. A question about passivity. I notice an increasing disappearance of will as deeper disidentification happens. It is there starting to feel like I have to pretend I don't know that all this is God's dream just to get enough sense of will to act. Like, in order to function, I have to compromise the truth on some level. I have to accept some level of delusion. I feel deeply surrendered, but no sense of desire for anything. Example, I live in a pretty awful situation from a human level. There isn't enough will to act to change it. I realize this description isn't non-duality correct, but it's hard to put into words. It feels like I have seen too much to return to the fear-based illusion of will, yet I notice motivation to act has collapsed. You see, we'd have to work together, Wesley, to explore that, because you could be calling it motivations collapsed, but it could also be hiding a fear or delusion behind that, that's causing no action. It could also be that you're going through a phase of like Ramana Maharshi, just like acting like a Buddha, sitting meditating, or Eckhart Tolle, or even myself, like just being very blissed out and unable to act. But it could also be a fear that's hiding in the body. Or not seeing that actions can be taken and nobody's doing it. Like really seeing that and really trusting the craziness of it. Thank you for the question, Wesley. Santosh. Hi, Lisa. It's great to hear that you say that all of this is ultimately unknowing, but a kind of question arises. What knows this unknowing? It just is unknowing. You could say that the not knowing is conscious, but then even that is still a knowing of sorts. So you just begin to get into more and more refined details. And just right here, right now, nothing matters. You don't have to work it out. Working out happens in the dream. It's not who you are. Thank you for your question, Santosh. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Lisa. Could you explain how does one go about being aware of being in daily life? Also, will there be no one there? Also, with there being no one there, how does one go through life? Thank you. The detachment from the character doesn't mean that the character has to fully disappear. The character will relax. The character will still have wants and desires and urges and patterns and ways of doing things. But what it means by there being no one there is that is no longer seen as the source of experiencing. The source of experiencing is not knowing. And as that begins to balance out, then acting will happen which is no one acting. So action will happen, but it's no one's actions, but it will come through the colour of Anthony, or the colour of Lisa, or the colour of Sandra, or Philip, or Peter, or Santosh. Thank you. Hi, Jan. It was a beautiful answer, Lisa. Thank you. It really spoke to me. Oh, nice. I like the dog. Hi, Anka. Just saying I love you and your talks. They are really clear and helpful, Anka. Anka, I hope I'm saying your name right. It's so hard for me to perceive how you say your name. Anka. I think it's right. Sorry, it's nothing personal. It's just what my mind does with words. It's hard for me to read and see words and recognize and put it together. It's so lovely when you fall silent. Just sit there quietly. I sink into that quietness too. Quietude. Quietude. Thanks, Anka. Hi, Rick. Thank you for your answer. Hi, Live. Hi, Lisa. You say to trust life, but that's quite difficult when one did grow up with untrustworthy parents in a kind of crazy family. Thanks. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to imply that it was a personal action. It's actually moving from the person to seeing that who you are is life itself. Because when the person has had difficult childhood, that can be difficult on the human level, but there can be a different forming of trusting life. But when I speak, it's very difficult to speak absolutely all the time, like in the absolute world. And so sometimes I compromise with language and I use personal terms, and then it makes it seem like you have to trust life. Whereas actually it's stepping into a trust of life that's inherently there, and then your character doesn't trust life. And it's seeing that difference. Thank you, Live. Hi, RP. Thank you, Lisa, for your wonderful presence. Oh, thanks, RP. That's sweet. Hi, Carmela. Love and gratitude to you. Hi, Lars Dodd. Hello, Lisa. Do you support devotees like a guru? I don't know what you mean by that. Do you support devotees like a guru? Even if they are non-native English speakers? If so, how to apply? Oh gosh, sorry, forgot. If the time is right, you will come to me, like the guru says. I mean a personal guru, with a deep connection to his devotees. A devotee can support you with spiritual powers, help you through hard times. I don't know what you mean, do I support? I don't know. I think that you've been involved in an organisation that has a particular language, and I don't know what that means. Do you support devotees like a guru, even if they're non-English speakers? If so, how to apply? If the time is right, you will come to me, like the guru says. I mean a personal guru, a deep connection. Are you asking if I'm a guru? Like if I, as a guru, support my devotees? A devotee can support you with spiritual powers, help you. What, help me as a guru? the devotee, the seeker can help me. I'm not sure what you mean, Lars. I think that you've been involved in an organization that have particular ways of saying things, and I don't think I know that. So you just have to explain it a bit better to me, what you mean. And Annika, is that your name? I think we will practice saying my name during our private session in July. Thank you. Annika. Maybe it's Annika. Bia. Hi, Lisa. Hey. Okay, I finished now. Unless Lars wants to clarify anything, I'll just give you a moment to clarify what you mean. Hi, Nat. How do you reconcile your realization with the state of the world and activism? I think the biggest activism you can do is realize who you are. It's more than any action or any protest. Pardon me. Sorry. That's what my tummy thought of that. Just waiting for Lars to clarify, and then I shall finish this evening's talk. I can see he's writing away like tick, 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 tick. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's got nothing to clarify. I'll give you 30 more seconds because I know that's how long you are behind me. Or maybe 40, so then you hear that. At least you've got to put, yes, I'm writing something. Annika, ooh, I got it right. A devotee can support, okay, like Ramana Maharshi was a guru, he always had devotees, he helped to get enlightened. Oh no, I'm not like that. I am not a guru. If you are, I'm not a guru. There are many other people that call themselves gurus out there, and you can find, I think there's lots of gurus that you can follow, but this is not what I do. I go online and I speak from my heart, which you could say is no place, the heart of being, which is no place. And I do one-to-one sessions with people. That's what I do. And I don't know the effects of that on people. I don't even think about that. It's either has a positive or negative effect. I just try to follow my heart. Thank you for your question, Lars. Okay, my loves, I shall see you next Sunday. I wish you a beautiful week. What else do I wish you? Oh yeah, I wish you everything. Every goddamn thing. Goodbye.